Do people in Canada have cable, like other people?
We keep this up in the playoffs. I don't care.
And at Chili's. Is it a Chili's? At Kyle's?
Achilles.
Finally.
You don't know that?
Fuck you! Get this guy the fuck out of here!
Alright, well, coming in at number 5, I got Anthony Stolars.
Now! Jets are winning the cup! Wow, that was a crazy goal.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the NordCast. It is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. I am your host here, Nordic 97, joined with Carter and just Carter today. How we doing, Mr. Richaud?
We're doing pretty good. You switched up the intro there.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting too old of the hello, everyone. I think I'm going to start doing what's up. I don't know.
All right. Well, I like it. It's not bad. It's not bad. I kind of like it.
It's good. It's good to hear. I will keep doing it that way. No Jack today. He is at the wonderful college that he is attending. I can't disclose it here. I think I've already said it on an episode.
He's already talked about it.
Oh, that's right. In Indiana University is where the guy's at right now.
No, the fuck it's not.
Life. Wait, isn't it University of Indiana?
How do you not? Jack,
what is it?
Nordic is a fucking idiot. Jack is currently attending Illinois State.
Oh, Illinois State. No, I knew that.
No, the fuck you didn't.
Yes, I knew that. Illinois State, he's living the college life with his girlfriend, who are in this new fantasy league we're doing. Carter, you want to reveal the fantasy league that is coming to the NordCast?
I don't really know what there is to reveal, but we got 14-team fantasy league. So the winner of that league is going to stay in the league for us next year, as well as with the three of us. So we're going to bring in 10 new people every single year. Just try and keep things fresh because, there's always going to be a couple people in like a bunch of these leagues who are just going to not play, and then it just kind of ruins the fun for everyone else. So, yeah, so it's just going to be like that. And I don't know if we're going to end up doing something for the winner, but maybe we'll throw something out there, but we'll figure it out.
We're not particularly a football podcast. We never talk about the NFL, which I guess we gotta do our predictions soon, right? Because the weeks
2 more weeks till NFL. Technically, 1 more week till college, but it's week 0 of college football this week. So, all you college football fans like myself, it's go time, man.
We should have did college football predictions, but isn't there like
Jack? I can already tell you how it's gonna go. Jack's a fucking homer, so he's gonna pick Iowa.
Yeah.
You know nothing about college, so you're probably gonna pick Penn State.
Yeah, I'll pick whatever college I find. I'll end up picking like Michigan or something because they won it last year, right?
They're not gonna repeat. I'm just gonna tell you that because you're a football casual, so I'm gonna help you out. I doubt they'll repeat, but you never know because it's Michigan.
Well, yeah, isn't that rare in college football though? I know that at least.
Unless you're like fucking Georgia or some shit. I already started the podcast. I said I wasn't going to swear. I've already sworn. This is bad.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, yeah. But whatever. Unless you're Georgia or you're going to repeat. I got Oregon, though. Go Ducks.
All right. That's fair. I'll definitely come up with something. We'll probably do that next episode because next episode we're going to bring someone on, not revealing who just yet. And then after that, we actually have our previews for each conference. So that should be something exciting coming up in the future. But regardless, that is 2 weeks away. We got a lot of news to talk about here, though. And there has been a lot that has happened. So we recorded our podcast episode last Monday was when we recorded our 2-year anniversary. Or was it last Tuesday? I'm not 100% sure. It was last Monday or Tuesday when we recorded our last episode. And when I say a shitload has happened since then, a shitload has happened since then. There have been offer sheets. There have been trades. There's been so much this past week. It has been one of the busiest weeks of August hockey-wise I've ever seen. So we're going to get straight into here. We're going to start off with the offer sheets that occurred, which was Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, who were each signed to 2-year contracts, Broberg being at a $4.58 million hit, and Holloway being at a $2.29 million hit. It's wow, just simply surprising. But I think St. Louis in these moves took advantage of the Oilers' salary cap situation. They took advantage of the Oilers not being signed these guys recently. And I think that honestly, They did a terrific job. And the way that the podcasts were recorded for us, like we recorded that on Monday, I believe, because we had to have. And obviously the offer sheets expired yesterday, and we're recording this on Wednesday. So the offer sheets have already passed, and the Oilers decided to not match these offer sheets despite making numerous trades during that week period where they could have matched it. One of them being the Vasily Podkolzin deal to the Oilers for a 4th-round pick, and the other being Cody Ceci, and a third being flipped to the Sharks for Ty Emberson. So just overall, 2 trades that made you think that, oh, maybe they're going to match these offer sheets now that they cleared some cap room, because if Andrew Kane was going to go all TIR as well. But no, they suddenly don't match these offer sheets, and randomly they just it's so unreal. So Carter, as this was all going on, what were your thoughts?
I didn't think that there was a chance that the Oilers were going to let these guys walk. I didn't. Holloway I could see because they got a pretty good group of forwards there, but I was shocked to see Broberg go because I thought he was pretty significant for them in that cup run. I thought he was good enough to because was he the cheaper of the two, of the offer sheets?
He was the more expensive one. He was the one that I actually thought was probably going to go because he had such a little sample size. And yeah, he looked really good in the cup run.
He did.
But he's getting paid 4.5. He was like a second pairing guy in the finals, but was mostly a third pairing defenseman, which made a lot of people be like, you don't want to pay a third pairing guy 5 or 4.5.
So they're paying a first pairing guy almost 10.
Well, yeah, that's darn it. He's a second pairing guy, actually, because they got Ekholm Bouchard. So, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But, again, with Broberg, yeah, he's the more paid.
Yeah. So, I would have, if I was Edmonton, I would have preferred to have kept Broberg. But, I mean, I was shocked to see that neither of them got matched, especially after all those moves and especially getting off the Cody Ceci deal and everything like that. I was like, you know what? They might not match both, but they'll match whichever one they feel is going to benefit them more long term. And I mean, they obviously feel like they got something better coming. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what the Oilers do, but it just seems so weird that their replacements for these guys are Vasily Podkolzin, who, has not. He has not had a particularly great stint with the Canucks. Was mostly in the minors, had a good rookie season, but was mostly in the minors. And, you bring in Ty Emberson, who is the same thing. So your replacements for these guys are Ty Emberson and Vasily Podkolzin. Just such a head scratcher to me. The only way that I think this is justifiable and that it makes sense that they didn't match these is because they have to sign 3 massive contracts within the next 2 years. That being Draisaitl, McDavid, Bouchard. So I guess that makes a lot of sense there. But again, St. Louis made out like bandits. You take advantage of Edmonton's cap situation. They don't have a lot of money as it is. And they get 2 young players who aren't, and again, I should have started with this. They aren't game changers. Neither are game changers. The Oilers aren't going to suddenly not be a playoff team next year because they lost these 2 guys. And I don't think the Blues are going to be a playoff team either because they got these 2 guys. But it is great taking advantage of that. We don't see opportunities happen too often, and especially to something like Stan Bowman. It definitely is pretty funny. What happened there, Carter? You just lag out for a second.
Give me a second here. Everything is going south. I'm trying to move my mic, and it's stuck on things. And this is just going amazingly.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, folks.
Oh, this is one of those episodes. The Nordic and Carter, whenever we do an episode, something stupid always happens half the time. Oh, man. But again, the Blues made out like bandits here. The Oilers kind of just left in a difficult situation. I would imagine maybe there's another move coming. And I guess, I didn't mention the compensation they get for these deals as well. Like Broberg, they get a second-round pick next year. And Holloway, they get a third. So obviously they get picks, which could be used for other advantages. But again, it's still rough for the Oilers losing these 2 players. So definitely something I wanted to bring up on the podcast for sure. The other piece of news, before we get into some of the other stuff, because there's been plenty of other things that have happened, but I want to get Carter's opinion on this because Patrik Laine one of his favorite players ever, is no longer on the Columbus Blue Jackets. He is going back up north of the border to the Montreal Canadiens, along with a 2026 second-round pick in exchange for defenseman Jordan Harris. So before I give my thoughts on this, I want to know what Carter thinks.
That is a hell of a trade for the Montreal Canadiens. That is all I'm going to say, because not only are, one, I don't think they got a lot of small contracts. They got a lot of great contracts. Slavkovsky, he's got one more year on his deal.
And then he goes to his extension. Which is only $7 million for Slavkovsky, which that was a huge jump he took. So that's an unreal contract. Not to mention they're probably going to bring in Demidov in the next 2 years or so. So that's going to be another budget-friendly deal. So having to live with, even if Patrik Laine doesn't live, I think that if you can get him to 30, 40 goals, you're making out like a bandit there. And if
I
you
think
get to 30, it's considered a win of a deal, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. Because you get 30 goals out of Patrik Laine. Not only that, but you also got a second-round pick for Jordan Harris. Like, sorry, I'm not trying to like throw any shade out there, but like, you get a second-round pick for that. Like, that's a great trade. And I think that Patrik Laine, he will flourish under Martin St. Louis. And I'm not gonna lie, that power play is gonna be scary.
Yes, the power play is gonna be a lot better when it comes down to it.
Because you can throw Cole Caulfield in that left side one-timer spot. You can put Patrik Laine on that left side one-timer spot. It doesn't matter, because it's really hard to stop one guy who can hit shots like that, but to have two on both your power plays is unreal. And not only that, is you can put both of them on the same one, because if it was me, I'd throw Caulfield on that right side, because I think he's got a better natural shot, whereas Laine's got that one-time power that's just accurate as all heck. So that power play for Montreal is going to be very scary, and I'm really looking forward to watching some Montreal Canadiens hockey next year.
So Patrik Laine, and I want to analyze his time with the Blue Jackets. So he gets traded to Columbus from Winnipeg for Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think we talked about that, I think, like 2 episodes ago. We dove into it with Angus. Shout out to him, great guy. If you haven't watched that episode, I recommend watching it. But in that, what's that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So in this past season with Columbus, or in 2020-21, he had 10 goals, 21 points in 45 games.
I'm muted.
So, kind of season. In 21-22, he played 56 games, had 26 goals, 56 points. Then in 22-23, good. What are you saying?
I'm trying to. My mic doesn't want to mute, and this is the weirdest. I'm gonna figure this out later.
Okay, so in 22-23, he plays 55 games with the Blue Jackets. This is the year that I projected the 55 goal game, or 55 goal season. 22 goals, 52 points. That was his second best season with the Jackets. And then this past year, he had 18 games played. He had 6 goals for 9 points. So honestly, never got to the level that he was supposed to in Columbus. Look at the previous years with Winnipeg. He was a 30-goal scorer 3 years in a row, 40-goal scorer one of those 3 years. He came close in 2019-20. Had he played a few more games and the season wasn't short, he probably would have reached it then too. But overall, again, what he said in a lot in the media too was that whole time in Columbus was a rough time. Was a very rough time. There were a lot of things that went down in the locker room that weren't particularly great from what we've heard. So again, it makes things very interesting when you look in terms of that. But I do think that if you can keep Laine healthy, because he hasn't played a full 82-game season since he was with the Jets in 2018-19. So if you can keep Laine healthy and get him to a 30-goal season, I consider that a huge win for the Blue Jackets. I think the Canadiens. I think he still has that opportunity in him, because just 3 years ago, he scored 4 less than that playing 56 games. So he can get back to that as long as he can stay healthy. And again, as Carter said, if you can get him to a 30-goal pace, that's a huge win, honestly. And maybe he's not a part of the long term, and I think the reason why they got a second in return or they didn't have to give up much was most likely because of the fact that Laine gets paid so much. Like, Laine got paid $8.7 million. It's actually the highest paid contract on the Montreal Canadiens discluding Carey Price. I don't think we should include him because he's not even played. But he's the most expensive contract. And that was why Columbus didn't get a lot back in return, because they didn't want to retain salary. And there were some teams being like, I don't really know if we should be able to do that. And we should take on the full contract. But Montreal, they took a jump here. And Jordan Harris, again, not a horrible defender, but there are other defenders in that pool that want to get a chance in the NHL. Like, I think a guy that's going to come up and play in replacement of him is Arbor Xhekaj. I think he could get a spot over what Jordan Harris was. So overall, it's a slam dunk for Montreal, 10 out of 10 deal. Carter, any more thoughts on the Laine deal?
No, but I feel like, so I read this on Instagram. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure it's true. I think it was on Puck Empire, but it was something along the lines of Nick Foligno, and then there were two other guys.
Yeah,
something. I can't remember exactly. It was something where like they wanted Laine and another guy traded. I can't remember who the other guy was, but they wanted them two traded, and it ended up being Foligno and the other two that got shipped out instead, and they kept Laine and whoever the other guy was. I'm sorry, I can't remember the names of them.
No, I have it right here. I have it pulled up right here. So it's funny because I was talking about it earlier with my friends before we started this podcast. So this comes from the Mug NHL. You might have seen it on Puck Empire, but I saw it on the Mug. So in an interview with a local news station in Columbus, Aaron Portzline dropped a bomb about the situation with the Blue Jackets during the 2020-21 season. He stated that the leadership group at the time, which was included with Nick Foligno, Zach Werenski, Seth Jones, and Gustav Nyquist, had a meeting with management and recommended the team traded both Patrik Laine and Elvis Merzlikins to help the morale in the dressing room and turn the team into winners, hinting they were part of the problem. Instead, management decided to trade Foligno, Jones, and Nyquist. So, a little context, this was 3 years ago in 2020-21. So it was a little bit ago. It wasn't exactly recently when these were going on, but it does kind of put it into perspective that this has been going on for years before Laine officially said, yeah, I want out of this place. He has definitely been dealing with some issues. I don't know if it's specifically Laine's fault that these things have been going on and that these guys wanted these players out, or it was the fact that these players were the problem. But honestly, regardless, almost all of those guys, except for Merzlikins, are no longer with the team. So yeah, Carter, you definitely didn't hear anything wrong. That was something that happened for sure. It seemed definitely interesting for sure. And it was definitely a team at the time that really was on the downturn. So yeah, you heard right. Congratulations. Moving on now to other news. Nothing really else to report on, to be honest. Matty Beniers signed a $7 by $7.1 million contract. Sorry about that. I think Beniers in this deal, he has a big season up ahead of him. I think Carter even spoke highly of him in an episode previously. Beniers, yeah, he's going to be a really good player. He has a huge season ahead of him. Getting him to a 7 by 7, not a bad deal. I don't know if Carter has any thoughts on that.
No, I really like that deal. I think you're banking on his potential, and I think you saw kind of what he was in that first year in Seattle where he won that Calder. I think he was a big part of that team, and I mean we kind of saw that sophomore year slump, which happens to a lot of players for sure. But I have no doubt in my mind that Matty Beniers is not. He's 100% going to bounce back. I don't think there's a chance he doesn't. Is he going to get back up to that 70 point pace? Probably. I'd expect that out of him, especially on where he's going to be the front runner in Seattle. So I can definitely see him. Making
Yeah. I like what you're saying. I definitely think that he's going to have a huge season ahead. The last piece of news before we get into some off-season topics that we have just for fun. Yaroslav Askarov requested a trade out of Nashville. So Kevin Weeks reported that the Preds goalie prospect Askarov has requested a trade from the team. Askarov told the team that he will not report to Milwaukee, and this news also comes after the big 7-year extension for Hussein Saros. And as well as that, too, Barry Trotz came out on the thing and said they have heard of the rumors, but they expect for him to compete in training camp for a spot. So Askarov, one of the top goalie prospects out there. I remember when we were doing our 2020 draft when he was drafted, we were high on Askarov, even though the guy hasn't really played a lot of games. definitely someone who will be talked about a lot. It sucks we don't have Jack on here because I know Jack will be talking about how he would be good to go to Chicago. But honestly, I think that Askarov is going to find his way out of Nashville very soon, and there will be suitors for him because there have been rumors of up to 12 teams calling on Askarov. So, Carter, any thoughts on Askarov? Would you want him on your team? I know Winnipeg's got a goalie, but Philly.
I would like to get him in Philly, but I don't think it'd be amazing to do. But I think the only goalie that. So I was looking at this, especially for Philly. I think first I should probably talk about Askarov first before I dive into if I take him on Philly, which I 100% would. I am not surprised in the slightest. I think everyone knew he was NHL ready. Everyone knew that he wanted to come to the NHL this year, and I think because if you dominate that much in the AHL, you're not coming up to be a backup. He proved who he was in the AHL. And it's not like he went on a winning streak and they were like, oh, he put up a 920, bad game, 890, but his team was unreal. He was putting up crazy numbers, crazy stat lines. And it kind of makes you think like, like he's a big part. I'm like, he's definitely going to get something here, but not. It blows my mind. Nashville is going to get a crazy return for him no matter what. Like it's going to be nuts because when he comes into the NHL, he is going to probably prove himself as a top. This might be a hot take, but I think once he comes into the NHL, he will prove himself as a top 10 goaltender in the league.
I agree, and I think as well as that too, he's put up, as you said, he put up incredible numbers in the American Hockey League. I think he was like 2 or 3 games away from the finals, like his team.
Yeah,
and that was a pretty insane. I almost said Nashville, Milwaukee. This is the same Milwaukee team, by the way, that if I'm correct, won like 23 straight games.
Yeah,
if I'm correct, they won a lot of games. They were talked about a lot. So Askarov was the front runner for that. So again, it's not a surprise at the slightest. You see Saros get an extension, and you're like, yeah, he's gone for sure.
Mm-hmm. So this year, Askarov he played in the NHL this year, and when he did this season, not his first year. His first year he didn't play too well. In his first 2, he only played 2. He put up a 147 goals against average, small sample size, but he also put up a 943 save percentage. And that is with a better team in Nashville than in Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, he put up a 239 and a 911. So, like, when you look at that, you're like, yeah, like, that's all right. But then you think about it, like, man, this guy he's 22 years old. He's dominated that league, like, completely. It's a small sample size of 2 games, and you put up a 943. Like, some goalies can do that, obviously. But at the same time, it's like, that is still unreal for a 22-year-old in the NHL.
Exactly. He's one hell of a goalie. So you talked about Philadelphia as a possibility. You want to go into that more?
So here's my thing with Philadelphia. I would love to get him. It's going to come down to what goalie are the Flyers going to ship in return.
Yes, there are so many goalies in the Flyer system. Because
there's a lot. So what I've heard, I can't remember who it was. It might have been, it was either Charlie O'Connor or Anthony DeMarco. So they basically put out something where it was like, if the Flyers are going to make this trade, it is going to be probably Sam Ersson because they don't think that they are ready to pull the trigger on Fedotov yet. Because I think that he is the biggest. Yeah, it was Charlie O'Connor?
I think it was. I remember hearing about that somewhere.
Yeah, so he thinks that the Flyers aren't ready to scrap this whole kind of Fedotov experiment, as he put it, which I kind of agree with for sure.
Yeah, but 2 games.
Yeah, he only had 2 games, but at the same time, like, you also got to think, like, if you could get a guy like Askarov, like, I might ditch the experiment. Like, it's when you could get a guy who's proven himself, right? Like, Fedotov, he played unreal. I was very thrilled with him. Onnnn this season, as a rookie, played unreal. Not to mention, we had that other goalie who went back to Russia. So
Kolosov. He's
Kolosov.
expected to stay with. He's expected to come to training camp, though.
Yeah,
There's a lot of kind of things there with that. The
Yeah.
Flyers treated him badly. We're not going to get into that, but
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to.
But there's another goalie too. So we have 3 goalies that have potential to be NHL starters, right? I don't think.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I know I do this a lot, but I just want to say this: we have the best goalie prospect system in the league, without a doubt. We have some of the top goalies in the league that are developing. Yes, I know there's Askarov, I know there's Wallstead, but we have the best goalie system in the league because we got Kolosov, we got Fedotov, we got Onnnn who looks good, and again, I agree with you. Onnnn, people look at Onnnn and say that because of stop making that face, you're trying to make me cringe, but. With Onnnn, people look at the last 15 games of the season and say, "Oh, he's a bad goalie," but he played his heart out, and he got overplayed by the Flyers so hard. But again, continue. Sorry.
No, you're good. All I was going to say was there's a lot of there's a lot of goalie prospects who could end up being NHL starters. That it's just which ones are you going to ship off? Which one or ones? I don't know. Maybe they want 2 to see we're going to keep the better of the 2 in this or whatever, something like that. But it's going to come down to that. And they're going to have to throw in some players, which they're going to get top prospects for sure. But I will say, I probably said this after our post-draft thing, but I was shocked to see Askarov still in a Nashville Predators uniform, I guess, technically. Still on that roster, still in that prospect pool after the UC Saros signing, and especially after the draft.
Yeah, again, you could have seen this coming from a mile away. I don't know. I like the idea of Philadelphia, but as you said, you have to send another goalie out the other way because there's no way they're keeping all of those goalies in the system. You just simply can't do that because you can't have 8 goalies down below in your system. It doesn't work. No matter how many of them get injured. Other places I think could be good ideas for him. Chicago, they need a starting goalie. Colorado. Honestly, Georgiev, not a great scenario there. The Sharks option as well as Montreal, possibly. There's a few options out there, and there's a lot of teams that have called in on him. And I think the destination for Askarov will be exciting. I don't know if we'll hear anything about it until close to the season, if he gets traded at all. But it's still a very exciting thing to happen for sure. So any more thoughts on Askarov?
No, but I don't expect to see him in a Nashville Predators or Milwaukee Admirals uniform next season.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. All right, that is it for news. We're going to go into our next topic here, and this is a topic that I think we've talked about before. We've done a few of these in previous episodes, but we are going to be predicting captains for the vacant captaincies around the NHL. So there are 6 teams in the National Hockey League that currently do not have captains, that being the Anaheim Ducks, the Buffalo Sabres, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Seattle Kraken, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Utah Hockey Club. So we'll start off with the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks have said they wanted to name a player a captain before the start of the season, and I think they're going to go with – I've had a few players in mind. I've balanced between Mason McTavish or Troy Terry. I'm going to go to the direction of Mason McTavish because he was a captain in Team Canada on the World Juniors. In fact, 2 years ago today, I sent this to Carter. He made that huge save against Finland in overtime, and later they won the game in overtime to win the World Junior Gold. So I think he's definitely a leader. He's been great on Anaheim the last couple of seasons. He's my pick for the Anaheim Ducks. Carter, who's yours?
I mean, that's not a bad one. My thought is he's too young to be captain. I get you probably want a young captain with that young team. He'd be a good fit. I don't think he's there yet. He's only had a couple seasons in Anaheim. Give me someone who has been there his entire career. Give me Cam Fowler to be the captain of the Anaheim Ducks. He's been there for so long. Give him the C. This guy has been through so much in Anaheim. If I could give it to John Gibson, I would, but I can't. So I'm going to give it to the next best thing and give it to Cam Fowler.
I like that opinion. I like that take. He has been here for a very long time. He's 32 years old. He started his first season with the Ducks in 2010. The guy's been here for a very long time. So Cam Fowler's not a bad idea either. But I think that, again, Fowler's a great idea. I think McTavish is also a good one too. Buffalo Sabres. So the Sabres is one that I definitely balance back and forth between. I think there's honestly a few options, but I saw after they named Kyle Okposo captain a few years back, it was a little bit of a head scratcher because he wasn't a part of their long-term plans. I'm going to go with Tage Thompson. He's signed to an 8-year contract. He'll be here until, I think it's like 2032 or something. I think, again, there's a few options you could go here with Buffalo, but I'm sticking with Tage Thompson.
I like that one. I like that one. So I've kind of thought over this one a little bit here. Tage Thompson, he's a good one. There's two guys that I could see getting this. Tage Thompson is not one of the guys that I have. He made my final 3, but if I'm going to give 2 here because I really think it could be either of these two guys, I'm going to go Rasmus Dahlin or Mr. Canada Dylan Cousins.
I like that. I think that, honestly, both of them are signed to long-term deals. They're a little bit younger in that age. Like, Dahlin is 24, Cousins is 23. They're younger than Thompson by a few years. But I like that. I think that definitely those guys will make a lot of sense, too, because, again, they're a part of the long-term plan as well in Buffalo. And, again, I'm not saying they should be named captain now, but if they were to name one, that would be the guy I go with. Chicago Blackhawks. Carter, I'm going to let you go first because I have a curveball I'm going to throw at you guys.
You're probably going to say Nick Foligno, aren't you?
I'm going to say Nick Foligno, yes. Nick Foligno is my pick. Because, listen, everyone's going to say Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard should be the captain. I think if Jack were on here, he'd say the same thing. But Foligno is signed to a longer-term deal. He's going to be with the team for a little bit longer. It seems like he might be there for the rest of his career. And I think Foligno would make perfect sense as the captain to mentor Connor Bedard, mentor the young guys coming up in Chicago. I think it's a great idea. But you might think differently.
I think here's the thing. It's going to be Connor Bedard, but they're going to leave it open for this season. I think they're going to keep it open for this year. And then I think when Bedard enters the 3rd year of his ELC, they're going to give him the C.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that's very possible. I think that definitely probably does happen.
Because I don't see them naming a captain now. If we were doing captain right now, like who would we put? It'd be Nick Foligno, I think, because he'd just be a great captain. But we saw he would be. He is a great captain.
We did kind of talk about that earlier.
Columbus, but I think they'll leave it open for this next season, and then they'll give it to Connor Bedard on the 3rd year of his ELC.
Yeah, I like that. I think that works too. All right, Seattle Kraken. This is kind of hard. Actually, maybe it's not so hard now. So my original pick was actually Vince Dunn because Dunn signed there for a little bit longer. He's been there since the team came into the league. But I'm going to go with a younger option here. Matty Beniers just signed a 7x7. We talked about him earlier in this pod. I think that Beniers would do wonders for Seattle with that captaincy. I don't know if you view that differently, Carter. You've been kind of with the younger guys. You might go in the direction of Dunn, but what do you think?
No, I was not going to go in the direction of Dunn. I was going to go. There's 2 guys that I could see. I know I've kind of stayed away from the young guns. My number 1, it would be Matty Beniers. My number 2, though, Jordan Eberle.
Ooh, yes, but
I think he would be a great captain in Seattle.
Yeah, but my only worry with Eberle is he's not really there for the long-term plan. He's only there for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and I'll probably retire after that. But I do think that's a good idea to be named captain. He's an assistant right now or an alternate, so definitely a good idea for Eberle. I don't think that's bad at all. Tampa Bay should be very easy. I'm going with Victor Hedman. I don't think there's anyone else that really comes close. I guess maybe Kucherov or Point, but Hedman just signed an 8-year deal. I'm going Hedman.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think that they would probably end up giving it to Hedman, but I would not be opposed to Nikita Kucherov.
No, me neither. Or honestly, Braden Point is another guy that could get it as well. But I would definitely say Victor Hedman's the number 1 leading candidate. And finally, the Utah Hockey Club up next. I gotta say, my second favorite team, shout out Coyotes, I'm going Clayton Keller. No one else comes close for me.
Yeah, it's Clayton Keller. Not.
Yeah, he's the number one dude. Everyone else, like Keller has been here since the start. A lot of the guys have come in and aren't a part of the long-term plan. Keller is. So definitely I'm going with Clayton Keller there. So overall, Carter, I got one more question for you here. Who is the one captain amongst any team in the league right now that you see leaving their team soon?
Like, I'm trying to think of like every captain.
You want me to tell you mine?
Yeah.
Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, there was rumors of him. Let me see here.
I just went on if you're wondering where all the captains were listed, I just went on Wikipedia and it shows like all the captains.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. That's where I found all the teams that weren't. But I also made a TikTok on it like a week ago or two. So I've just been stealing TikTok ideas.
Let's see.
I could see like possibly
I'm just looking at guys who are like
I love Sean Couturier. I don't know why. Like I feel like the guy like doesn't want to feel like he would want to leave because of the way the Flyers have been treating him recently. But Couturier is one that I thought of, but not really. Trouba is definitely the number one guy.
I'd say Braden Shen would be one.
Yeah, possibly for St. Louis.
But I think the most likely one would be Trouba because I think he's a proven guy at least. Still, he can still play. Like he still plays at such a high level.
He just may have some controversial plays, But again, they tried moving him. There were rumors on draft day that they traded him to Detroit, and Trouba was like, "Nope, my wife's working at a medical hospital. Nope, we can't do that. Nope, don't trade me." There's a whole lot more to the story than that, but regardless, that's it for the captain stuff. We're gonna do something fun now. We're gonna go over the Zoom and go to our wonderful Google Sheet, and we're going to draft our all prospects team. Let's go. So today we are drafting a prospects team. These are prospects from NHL affiliated, so we're not doing 2025 draft. These are guys who have to have played at least less than 25 games in the National Hockey League. So that means that guys like Simone Edvinsson are not included. That means other guys are not included. But there are some certain guys who have played NHL games that are on this list. But regardless, we'll start off here. I'm going to take my first pick. It is going to be from the San Jose Sharks at center, Macklin Celebrini. I don't think I'm surprising anyone. He should be the first line center. I think he's honestly the best rated prospect in the NHL right now. Some people may disagree with that. But Carter, who are you going with at your pick? You can go whatever you want, but we're going to start off with forwards first. We're not going to go back to defenders yet.
Okay. So are we building a combined team?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to take Matvei Michkov, but let's throw him on that left side.
All right. Matvei Michkov. So we don't have to be winger specific. So we don't have to put right wingers on the right wing slot or left wingers on the left wing spot, but they have to be wingers. We can't put like, I don't know, like Tija Ginla at center. So obviously that's, you get what I'm saying? Okay. All right. Well, my next pick, I am going to take, I think that the first three picks are very easy. Give me Ivan Demidov. Demidov is the third best ranked prospect in the league. Incredibly offensively, has put up great numbers in the KHL, has a lot of potential. Carter, do you want to, he's a right wing / center. Do you want to move him up to right wing or put him second line center?
No, you can put him at center.
Okay. All right. You're up next.
All right. I can't remember if he plays center or wing, but we're going to go Cutter Gauthier.
Cutter, I believe, is a wing. Not 100% sure.
I think he's a wing.
We'll put him
at BC he played wing, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, we're going to put him at wing then. Does right wing probably good for you?
Yeah.
Okay, we can make changes to it, by the way, if we want to. Give me Will Smith as my next pick here. So we're almost on the top 6 already. Smith, again, great player for the Sharks. Had a good year at Boston University. I think he's gonna be fun to watch this year for sure. Carter, you're up.
Let's get Will Smith's boy up there on that right wing. Let's get Ryan Leonard up there.
Ooh, yes. So we already got all of the Boston University guys in the group there. So Leonard at the wing. I like that top six. That's a nasty top six already. Next up then, looking at my list here, give me Logan Stankoven. He does actually qualify for this list. Even though he's played exactly 25 games. He still is gonna classify for this. He's a right wing, so we'll put him at the right wing slot. All right, Carter, you're up.
All right. Might call this a little off the board, but I wanna add a lot of speed to this. So I want Berkeley Canton down the center.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I feel like I would definitely go with someone different than Berkeley Catton at that center slot, but I do like that pick a lot. Give
Like it
me
wouldn't.
Caden Lindstrom. I think he's actually gonna be our fourth line center. I think Lindstrom is terrific player, had a good year with the Medicine Hat Tigers. Yeah, Lindstrom at center. We might have to actually change some things out. We can have one extra forward, by the way. I should have mentioned that. All
Okay.
right. Carter, you're up next.
Let's go with let's go Tisha Ginla.
Teja
I think let's.
Gilboa. Do you know if he's a center or not?
I thought he was a winger,
Okay.
left
Can you
side.
check that for me real quick? All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put TJ Ginla on the left side. I got someone here who I think is incredibly underrated and not many people have talked about. Give me Danila Yurov. Guy from the KHL, Minnesota Wild prospect. We'll put him on the right wing. Yeah, incredibly underrated. That's had a great year in the KHL. Just waiting for him to come over patiently. He was drafted in 2022. He's going to be really exciting when he does come over.
Uh, so Elite Prospects has him listed as a left winger.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough.
So we're if he's not actually a left winger, don't get mad at us. Blame Elite Prospects. Got that? All right, sweet. My last pick. I feel like I kind of want to add a little bit of size, but there's not a lot of guys with size. You know what? We kind of got a little bit of a sample size of them this year, and I think Jack would be very happy. Let's get Frank Nazer in this.
Wow. Is Frank Nazer's a center, right? Or is he right wing?
I thought he played winger.
Hang
I'll
on.
look again. I got it. Frank Nazer. Hockey or Elite Prospects has him listed as center / right wing.
Okay. Where do you want to put him? Do you want to put him at wing or center? Because he would be our extra guy then.
Where do you want to put him? Because you have last pick, and I want you to have wherever you put your last guy, put Nazer the opposite.
I'm just checking to see if we are missing anyone.
So if you got like a winger who's gonna play, then throw him at center. If you got a center that you want to put in, then throw him at wing.
Ooh, we're honestly missing so many players.
I don't care. I go with guys that I like.
Okay. All right. Well, the bias is crazy.
It's not no. It's not. I'm not saying that I like because I'm not a huge Frank Nazer guy, but it's like I've watched these guys. I know these guys. I know how they play. I like how he plays.
All right. I'm really high on Joakim Kemmel. That's who I'm going with for my last pick, and we're gonna put Nazer as our extra forward. He's a right wing, right?
Yeah, yes,
Okay. So
or center, wherever you want to put him.
Do you want to make any changes? I think we move Yurov up to the third line and put Aginla down.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Because Yurov had a great year in the KHL. Aginla, he's great and all, but I don't know. And I'm thinking about moving Lidstrom up above Cadden too.
Love dropping all my picks. It's crazy.
Sorry. Well, do you see anything else that you want to change?
I'll just shut up. I'm not
All
gonna
right,
talk anymore.
I don't have to change the Cadden thing. But regardless, our forward core as of right now, Matvey Michkov, Macklin Celebrini, Cutter Gauthier first line, Will Smith, Ivan Demidov, Ryan Leonard as your second line, Danila Yurov, Berkeley Catton, and Logan Stankoven as your third line, Tisha Ginla, Caden Lindstrom, and Joakim Kemmel as the fourth line, and then Frank Nazer's your extra. Definitely know we're missing some guys, but again, we can't really put everyone into a team. This is a very difficult thing to do. But regardless, let's move into the defenders. I think you have first pick with defense, so I'll let you go.
I got first defensive pick. That's huge.
So,
That's huge. Give me Artem Levshinov.
ooh, yeah. So the second overall pick from this past year. Doesn't matter what side defense, what side D. Ignore that it's written down like that. We'll just put it like that. All right. So Levshinov, first pairing defender. For his partner, I'm going to go with Alexander Nikishin from the KHL. Incredible, talented defender. Had a great year over there this past year. I think he's going to be special when he comes over eventually. All right, you're up next, Carter. Yet again.
Are we counting Brant Clark or no?
Yes, we are counting Brant Clark. He was
Okay.
going to go with. You want to go?
Then I'm going to take Brant Clark.
All right. I'm going to go with Brant Clark there, second pairing. After that, I'm gonna go with Z Boyum. I'm a big Z Boyum fan. He's looking.
Y'all are gonna hate me, but whatever. He played way too well at BU for me to not put him in here. Give me Lane Hudson.
Yeah,
I
Lane
think
Hudson.
We got a small sample size of him in Montreal, but I think I saw so much at BU, and he looked like a steal his freshman year, and his sophomore year he looked even better.
Yeah, he's going to be exciting when he converts over to the NHL full time. My last guy, Carter, I believe you get extra. I'm gonna go with. There's a lot of good players who are not gonna make this list. Give me. You need some defense. You need some size. Give me Anton Silyev. Big, tall, 6'7" defenseman from the Devils. I think it's a great pick. And then Carter, you get the extra. Who are you going with?
Or if my dog would just be quiet, this would make it so much easier. Um,
Oh my
I
God,
don't
we're
know.
missing someone huge. If you don't go with him, I'm gonna replace someone with him.
Is it drafted this year?
No, not this year. Thank God I caught this because we would have been in trouble if we didn't catch this.
Trying to think of who it is. I know I'm forgetting someone huge here. You told me. Now I'm looking. Oh, is it ASP?
Yes, it's ASP.
Okay, that's who I thought. He was gonna be my pick, but I was like, am I forgetting someone else? Because I'm like, he's not a huge name, but like he's
All right. Yeah, if you're okay with that, I'm gonna replace Silyev with him
yeah.
because I think he's better than Silyev. If you want to pick another extra, it's up to you.
No. I'm good with Silyev.
I'll go. All right. Yeah. All right. Our goalie list. This will be interesting. I don't believe they're actually written on the list I gave you, Carter. So you went
That's okay.
off the fly. I'm gonna go first. Give me Jesper Wallstedt starting goalie. I think our backup should be obvious. We talked about him earlier in the episode.
You're right. We did. Joel Hofer.
Oh,
I'm
what?
kidding.
He's not a prospect.
I know. I just wanted to. Okay. Let me.
Yaroslav Askarov, backup goalie. Carter, you do have a story to tell about Hofer, don't you?
I mean, I don't really have a story.
Didn't he come to
trains-
your work?
We trains there, so yeah. That's about it.
Oh,
There's so many guys that train there. It's become numb at this point.
cool. All right. I'm gonna go with. I don't believe I'm missing anyone. Give me Dustin Wolf. I almost jumped the gun there. Dustin Wolf's got to be on here. Honestly, the goalie tandem, you could put Wolf up the starter. You could put Askarov up the starter. It's
all interchangeable.
It's night and
really.
day. honestly. And I know, and again, people are going to complain that we forgot a lot of guys. We understand that this is so hard to do, but obviously, definitely it's a really good team, really stacked roster. So we'll start with our offensive core: Matvey Michkov, Macklin Celebrini, Cutter Gauthier first line, Will Smith, Ivan Demidov, Ryan Leonard second line, Danila Yurov, Berkeley Catton, Logan Stankoven third line, Tisha Ginla, Caden Lindstrom, Joachim Kemmel, fourth line, and then Frank Nazer is our extra forward. Your D pairings, you got Artem Levshinov, Alexander Nikishin, Brant Clark, Zeev Boyum, Lane Hudson, Axel Sandin Pelika, and Anton Siliev as your extra. And then your goalies, you got Jesper Wallstead, Yaroslav Askarov, and Dustin Wolf. Carter, any changes you want to make?
No.
Okay. All right. That does it for me. That is our prospect team, and that'll conclude episode number 68 of the NordCast, I believe, correct? I think it's episode number 60. I think I said that at the beginning.
Get
Carter,
the funny one next.
Yeah, pretty nice number next. Carter, any thoughts?
Do
Any
I
final
have any
thoughts?
thoughts? That's a great question. I have a lot of thoughts, but I got no final thoughts. Football season almost starts. I'm so excited. Hockey season right around the corner. I'm excited. We're almost through the dog days of sports. All right. It's almost a fun time of baseball where we get playoffs. It's almost a fun time where the NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, they're all back. We are almost out of the dog days of sports. So get ready for these next week, I guess, the next week of the dog days. But after that,
things get fun.
Sports are back. Sports are back.
That was a great final thoughts.
Thank you.
You didn't even have anything. That was a great final thoughts. All right, well, that'll conclude this episode of the NordCast. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on the YouTube end of things, give us a good review. Tell your friends. Subscribe down below if you're new. If you're watching on the podcast end of things, give us a good review and tell your friends. If you want to follow the NordCast Instagram, follow at NordCast_. If you want to follow the NordCast TikTok, follow at NordCast. If you want to follow the NordCast Twitter, follow at NordCast_. I'm Nordic. That's Carter. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.